Welcome to Stampscapes Friday Night Live. We're going to do some really quick pieces here. I've been really enjoying this kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a different sensibility. I've done quick scenes before, but we're really trying to explore some different ways to bring in kind of a dynamic element into these types of quick scenes. And one of the fastest ways to do that is just to inherently start off with a little bit more of an exciting surface. Maybe one that's reflective. There's different things like photo stamping where you're starting off with, photos of clouds or sunsets or something like that. But a lot of us have these different types of, metallic types of papers that we've collected over the years. There's the really exciting ones like the holographics. This one happens to be a printable vinyl holographic sticker paper, which is not the same as these other cardstocks they'll be using. But again, just starting off with something inherently a little bit more exciting gives us, just a faster way to achieve a more complete look in your, different stamping projects, okay? So this is the foils, and I've been really exploring this vintage type of paper over this last week too, and I really like that look. The kind of spirit of the vintage paper against something like a foil, it's almost the opposite in terms of the overall look, because the vintage papers, of course, are supposed to look antiqued, and something like a holographic foil is anything but vintage looking. But it can be kind of the same process, in terms of our approach to the completion of a card. Okay, so let's take a look and let's see. I'll show you some things that I've been working on. So this was a piece of the holographic foil. It's not holographic, but it came out of the same pack as this kind of more, louder, vibrant, and ever-changing style one. It's not out of the same color pack. I think this one is out of the gold pack. This one is out of the blue pack, all right? But it has kind of a frosted aluminum-ish looking light blue, medium blue, and I think there was a little bit of a darker blue in there. And then there was this type of patterning in there. I don't have that, the blue version of it, but this is the pink version that I believe, again, came out of the gold pack. All right, so this one right here, I've pre-applied Brilliance White on here, and I've stamped this. The Sky is the Daily Bread of the Eyes, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I did this before coming on live here because I needed to spray seal this. If I did it, live, I'd have to go outside and spray seal it and wait for it to dry a little bit. So this look right here is, now this isn't the same one. This is the red one. This is more of the pink one right here, but this one was just as kind of vibrant, but then when you spray seal it, it mutes out that patterning a little bit. So I do like that patterning like that, but I don't know, like I was doing in, I think it was the live from 2 weeks ago maybe. I realized I really didn't mind this kind of more muted look. It almost, I wouldn't say it makes it more usable, because you can use this type right here, but it makes it tougher to see the images. Now again, this one's on a darker piece of red, so black against dark red, you know what I mean? It's harder to see anyways, but so to be able to see it a little bit better on this one. But see, that black there like that would have been just as dark as this black. All right, but it's a little bit more muted again. So you put that little bit of frosting over the top of that, and it's more of this, kind of a grayscale, I don't know, whatever, 80% gray instead of black. And again, maybe that's better, for our usage here. Hello, Debbie, Patty, Linda, good to see you all. Hope you had a nice week. Gosh, these weeks are going by so fast. I feel like I just said that. All right, so here's the thing. I'm testing, ink compatibility, ink transfer rates, and this one's going to be a little bit different, okay? So I know that this, when stamping with StazOn inks on top of this, it has to be done fairly quickly, because this brand of inks, if you hold it down for too long, Oh, I don't know. I don't have my piece anymore, but because I covered it up in my little instructional video earlier today. But if you stamp on top of this type of paper, this brand, okay, that's this one too, right here. If you remove it too slowly, or if you just transfer it and you let it transfer too long, it dries between the rubber and the bare surface of this. And then when you remove it, you're almost removing the foiling, or I don't know, whatever's printed over this type of surface. So you have to do it fast. Now, I don't know how fast I have to do it on this one because I already have that layer of brilliance ink in between that the spray sealant, the spray fixative, and the surface here. So we have two layers on top of this. So I think I'll just be safe though, and I think I'll do this fairly quickly, okay? Because I don't know how firmly adhered this, these two layers are on this surface right here. So it's, I don't know, better safe than sorry, I think. In this case, I'm going to do the same kind of composition that I did on that blue one. I don't know if I should re-ink this. I just re-inked it like yesterday, but stays on dry so fast that, you always have to re-ink it every time you use it. All right, that stamped out pretty light right there. All right, so that's what I was wondering about. I was wondering if the same transfer rate would apply. Let me go ahead and re-ink this again. This might be just a dry pad at this point in time, from like a few hours of usage. It's like using like alcohol ink or something like that. Okay, let me try this again here. Okay, that's a little bit better. I'm a little bit offset, but that's the boulders right there, and it doesn't matter to me too much. Okay, and let's go with the Fire Lookout large right here. Okay, now the reason why I use that, oh god, that is so light right there. Okay, so I'm learning something right here. That it didn't stamp out really dark right there. I'll see if I can hit it with something. If I had a positioner, I could, potentially do it again, but I don't know. Let's just see how this goes right here. All right, so I'm going to take this one and put it over here and here. Maybe I'm stamping too fast, when it comes to the transfer onto that spray sealant. The spray sealant may be doing a little bit of a resist. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. That looks pretty good right there with the spruce. I don't know, maybe the lighter element or something like that. Lighter in terms of, solids versus line weight. Maybe there's just, I don't know, more ink being applied. But let's see here. All right. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit light in here. I would have preferred it much darker. But I didn't lose the image, though. But it is pretty light. I'll have to do some more testing with that. Okay, so here's the other thing, too. I know that I could have gotten a really good impression with the Brilliance ink because it's thicker. And if I'm going, but it would have required another layer of sealant over the top of that. So depending on how muted I want that to be up here, I guess I could mask it off and just spray it like that though. But I don't know. I was thinking I didn't really want to have to do anything if I didn't have to. But let me see here with this. Okay, I'm not going to ballpoint that window in there with a ballpoint pen. It's just scratching off the surface. Let's bring some lighting into that window now, though. Okay, I'm going to use the same pen that I used on this one right here. Okay, see that, how that looks like that? With the foil. Again, I think it's pretty dynamic when you use that foil like that. It's just not some kind of quality that you're going to get in, you know, a piece of white paper. I mean, you can do more variation with the white, but, you know, if we're looking for quick scenes, and kind of minimal applications of media. I mean, this is right here. This is like the only coloring that I'm really doing on here is just coloring in these windows here. For me, I think it really adds to the overall look. Yeah, having that interior illumination, especially when everything else is just so minimal. Okay, let's see. All right, we have that. All right. And let's stabilize that area up here. And the way we do that is with some easy splatter painting, or just apply your, you know, white gel pen or white acrylic paint pen. Splatter painting is pretty fast though, and if someone was to do, I don't know, several different versions of that. Where's my stirring brush? Oh boy. Let me get with this. Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White, an opaque white watercolor paint. As most of you know, but someone might log in and think, what the heck is that? Just a little bit of paint in the tip there. Don't get it on your finger like I just did. Okay. And I should have cleaned off this brush before I started this video. But okay, I'm going to cover my quote just a little bit, okay? And then we're going to come in and add a little bit of star texturing in here. Like about like that. And that makes for kind of a fixed object in this otherwise crazy motion, reflective, multicolor sky up here, okay? And you'll see how this stabilizes that area. Okay, by having those different stars like that up there, it gives us something stable as opposed to just all moving kind of objects, and it really gives it that kind of northern light type of look up there. Look at that right there. It's pretty dramatic, isn't it? You can see it shining through a little bit in my... where am I getting all this paint from? Oh, no, it's from the jar, but I don't know how I got it all over the backside of my fingers or something like that. But, I don't know. Those little areas up there, those little stars up there really stabilize that whole kind of, whatever, a large portion of the scene. And that's going to be, you know, the dominant kind of focal point of the scene is this whole area there. Okay, but yeah, anyways, you can see those lights going through the clouds a little bit, but that Brilliance ink is doing a pretty good job at kind of blocking that out, because I didn't want this whole area just to be a window into that back area. If you don't stamp out that white behind there, and it doesn't take too long in terms of, you know, this being a, you know, a quick scene or whatever, you know, classified as a quick scene. So let's bring in a couple of different types of stars up here in terms of colors. And I'm going to go with the red on a couple of these. I'm finding I really like this red pen for things like orbs. You can see it up there sticking out like a sore thumb, but what I'll do is I'll add that little white, or, I don't know, I can go with a color here too. Here, maybe I'll go with a you know, a little bit of a beige instead of white. Yeah, let's do that. Or maybe, I don't know, you can come with that yellow one up there too. I'll add this in the center here. I almost need to wear some sunglasses. I'm serious here. I'm kind of, my eyes are kind of, you know, having a hard time focusing here because I have all this glare coming off of this. And this too, it's weird because we're looking at this and this is a flat piece of paper, of course, but my eyes sometimes when I start looking at this for too long, that in the background looks like it's farther back and this is on a different plane here. So I think what happens is, you know, with all that glare and things like that coming, and then you're trying to focus, you know, like a camera, you know, on whatever you're looking at. I find sometimes my eyes start going a little bit nuts. I guess that's a good way because it tells me that, you know, the card is, you know, I mean, the paper's doing the, you know, the job there. So there we go right there. So, okay, so what are we at? We're at 16 minutes into this video right now. I think this can be done in 15 minutes here. Okay, but you know what I mean? I was talking about it and things like that, but you can get this laid down, this white background. That took me about, I don't know, about 2 minutes or something like that. I took my paper towel, I don't know if it was this one, but you lay down that mask and then just go like this, and you layer it down, your brilliance ink, okay? But then, by the time you get from over here to over here, this area up here starts to dry a little bit. And then you have to come back and you have to lay down another layer in here. And I came down like this to get a little bit more of a variation down here where it's a little bit thicker in the body of the cloud and a little bit lighter up here. And then you kind of come up here and add a little bit more around the edge to make it not so crisp and more natural looking. And then maybe one more thicker layer down at the base down here for this rock, because I didn't want all that light to be showing right through that rock like it's like see-through or something like that. So it's a little bit more of a stable foundation of opacity up there. And then you can see up here it gets a little bit more transparent, and then of course it's bare up there, so you know, it stands to reason that, you know, you'd be able to see some of the light through this cloud right here because clouds are just, you know, moisture in the air. So you can see it when it's really kind of, you know, shining down there. You can see a little of that like that, but that's kind of in the harshest light like that. For the most part, you're going to be looking at it like this. All right, but this is under like 12, you know, fluorescent light bulbs, you know, coming from left and right here on my desk, right here, okay? It's a little bit harder to read the quote up there too, but, you know, I think it looks pretty cool up there. You take that quote out of it, and it would be, you know, a nice scene. You can just do it like that, but I don't know, I like that those hovering quotes like that. It makes them look real three-dimensional, just like the, I think the stars look like they're, I don't know, kind of hovering in that area. And do you see that red one up there? So it's just a little bit of a change of hue, and plus it matches, you know, because there's reds like in the in that holographic whatever spectrum. So you can do any colors you want up there with the stars, and I think because all of the colors are in that holographic range, so anything you can do multicolored stars, and I think it would look pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I like the blue one too. So let's take a look and see some different variations here. I really want to test out some more of this foil too. I mean, I was describing to people what was happening with this foil, but apparently it doesn't happen on the kind of that more solid, super mirrored red foil like that. I don't know if I can do anything with this scene right here. This is a scene where, okay, so, and this is what this, you know, card would look like, you know, in a way. See, I have that boulders with lichen down here, but if I don't block it out, like over here with the white, you know, this is kind of what it looks like. It's hard to see it except for, you know, when you're reflecting that light into there. So I don't know, I'm gonna see on this one if I can add something to this, or, I don't know, make it into a cave scene, I don't know, something like that. Okay, so the Recollections foil that I tested on earlier today, really cheap foil, sold at Michael's or online. Even the one that's really kind of lizard skin texturized like that I thought these ones with the stays on ink and holding that stamp down there for a long time, I thought those ones for sure I was going to peel off, and it was going to just peel off that printing on here, because these ones are kind of cheap, it's on that like it's like a and it's like butcher paper or something like that they're printed on. But okay, but here's my theory on these ones right here, being that they printed out so well with no problem with the peeling of the printed coloring on here, is that I have a feeling that these ones are more porous, okay, because they're cheaper. But in this case, for us, I think that worked out pretty good, because I got a really good impression on there with no problem. I think you can do a faster impression if you want to, or a slower one, but it's one that you don't have to worry about with that foil. I say worry, but if you get, the motion of it down just on a test print, you'll have no problem with it. All right, so let's keep testing right here. Okay, so what I mean by kind of impression pressure, if you don't know what I'm talking about, on this blue foil like this, if I held the stamp to the surface for, like, I would say over 5 seconds or more, the ink dried in between the stamp or on the rubber and surface. So what happened is, this stays on ink dries really fast. So as I was peeling it off, I was really peeling off this surface from the paper, okay, as opposed to transferring the ink to that surface, okay. But on this one, no, I watch it not work. Yeah, this one works just fine. It must be more porous, okay. So I don't know in this case, but cheap is good, I guess, or whatever. But the thing that puzzled me though too was I don't know, maybe it shouldn't puzzle me, but that real kind of mirrored one like this. Okay, here we go. These two right here, I guess that maybe it shouldn't puzzle me, because I think these ones, you have this silver coating on here, but I think there is a coating over the top of it, like they seal it in with some clear, not mylar, but some kind of clear coat or something like that. I say that because I think, when I've heat set this before or tried to emboss on it, it kind of bubbled. I don't know. Linda, you got all these packs. You got a take on that in terms of the coating on these ones as compared to, like a cheap Recollections or the holographics. These ones have a little bit of different coating on them, I think. I don't know. We might not be, in other words, we might not be using the stays on ink on top of that silver, whatever layer on there. We might be printing on top of like a clear sealant. I don't think it's sprayed on there. I think it's like a like a film or something like that. But I don't know. All right, so let's see here. Let's do this right here. I really like these. Okay, so if we're doing these really quick types of minimalist types of applications, I mean, this is just like stamping, except for the white ink on this one, okay? It's basically just stamping impressions on top of some paper. And this one, of course, has the splatter painting. So you're starting off with a little bit of a kind of a more exciting surface, to compensate for the, the very minimal types of whatever techniques on there. So I tend to think that adding a little bit, those little bit more of exciting types of applications of something helps them out and compensates for, in scenic stamping, it would be like the absence of things like shadow work and highlighting, that type of thing. That's the thing that Linda said in a comment like a year or two ago. She goes, I realize that Kevin spends like as much time with the details as like coloring and stamping. It's all the things. And I was thinking, yeah, that's right. Because that's what I'm really into. So this is like, instead of highlighting, you have these little crystal things kind of shimmering in there. So if I can't have my highlights in terms of some sort of, kind of a basic technique that I'm doing a lot of my scenes, then I want the things that are showing in here to be, I don't know, whatever, extra visible and present in the end result, right? So for me, a lot of the things are about subtlety. Here's a little bit of a twinkling little... I'm losing my voice here. It's really hot. I might have to go get a drink. What was I saying? Like a little twinkling highlight on a branch or something like that, okay? So the things that are twinkling in here, you want them to be like a little bit extra sparkly to compensate for that whatever missing, I don't know, whatever element. It's not missing if you never do it, but for me, because I'm doing it all the time, it is kind of missing. So again, but I don't miss it when, or as much if I have, some other things that are doing like twice as much of the work as like a, in this case, a white dot. Okay. So we have these little things that are light, but they're also really sparkly like this. Okay, I didn't fill in there all the way, but you get those little crystals like that. And this one's like this in here, that are changing with the lighting in there, of course. And those are the things that are really fun for people to kind of discover in your pieces too, if you give it to them. Okay, no, that doesn't look like anything alone, but you add in those extra stars like this. This one would be good to add in like some gold stars or something like that, because you have that golden kind of hue or color, texture, whatever, in the paper itself, so you can keep it thematic. Or if you had like little amber crystals, that would really be fun to kind of integrate into this and add like a few of those, or orange. I might have to get some more crystals though for these quick scenes. They're really fun to do. They're like, I don't know, like they're like sprints or something like that. Okay. So here we go with this right here. There's those stars like that. It's a little bit different on this golden paper, isn't it? I need to add in that interior lighting there, like that. It's interesting, those little... My glue dried on there, those little dots, before I was able to add the crystal. That's why I stopped adding the crystal. But the glue looks actually pretty good. It looks like a little raised dot, but it's... it would be as if you added a little bit of a clear... I don't know, like a glass, like a half sphere or something like that. So they're orange, but they're a little bit they're a little bit reflective like that. Do you see that where it has that little bit of lighting in there? I don't know. I guess you can use glue, to add stars in here too. They're more subtle, but they kind of look good amongst those white ones right there. So I don't know. You can make, I guess, glue. Barely art star creation glue. Or precision craft and star making medium. All right, let's see. Which one should I go for? Should I go for that yellow again in here? This one's kind of matching it a little bit more, the beige, but this one might be kind of interesting too. Let's see. Let me just test this out, Might as well, so we're not doing like every one of them like exactly the same. Did anyone go and see those moons over this last week? Because it was a blue moon, I guess, or something like that. But then I saw a bunch of posts on Facebook, and people were mentioning it's the super moon. I thought about doing like a moon piece today, but I didn't. I don't know. I got on this foil quick scene kick and wanted to do more of those, or these. I wanted to explore that a little bit. Hello, Ginger. Hello, Bonnie. I stamped out a scene on wall border, trying it out now to get it colored in. What's a wall border? Whatever it is, it sounds kind of cool. Yeah, we want to see the finished product. Hey, Bonnie, you got to take a picture, like midway too, whatever that is, and then like another picture with the end product there. Why not put brilliance over the top to block out the boulders and start? Well, you could, yeah. You can just completely block it out again, yeah, Linda. Would we if we blocked out that the brilliance on this one right here, would we spray seal it down to get it to adhere, or would we put the brilliance on there and then just stamped over the bare brilliance? You know what I mean? Because the bare brilliance is going to be floating on there, so I wonder if we have to lock it down with some sealant. Hello, Jeannie. Why are you now in black and white? It was I don't know. I found that the color was kind of distracting when I was editing, and I'm trying to edit out my yucky face in the corner. You know what I mean? So I thought, when I do those faster versions of these videos, I'm still up in the corner like there, so I'm trying to always like crop it out to the crop out the just my, just the project down here. You know what I mean? No one wants to see me, up there. I mean, I don't want to see me up there. You know what I mean? I just started doing that because I figured, it makes it a little bit more real, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, I was fiddling around with the software. I thought, oh, that looks better black and white. Okay, so here's another scene like this. This orange one looks pretty cool, though. I hardly ever use the orange paper. Okay, so I think the orange one came out of the primary pack of the Recollections foils, and I hardly ever use it, but this one looks pretty good. And I just used that same yellow up here in the lighting, or in the lookout tower, and I added that some of that yellow in here. For that little bit of a thematic, I don't know, whatever thematic. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't. I'll think of it. Okay, I need a little bit of stars in some other areas. I'm going to leave a little bit of space up here for a quote stamp. And I think it needs like a word stamp up there of some sort. Oh, I wanted to use, yeah, the moonlighted sculpture one here for another moon scene with that super moon. Hello, Laura. Susanna, good to see you. Hello, Jen. Super moon and the blue moon. What? The blue moon was like the day before, and that's a super moon after? You can see my face aghast at, you know, some of the results once in a while. Maybe that's it. Okay, let me think here. I just did that sky as the daily. Okay, when it's darkest, we see the stars. I don't know if I left room for this one, though. I'm going to have to do this one later, okay? I've got that little star right here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. I might not have enough room right here. I got that star right there. I'll think of another. Maybe the one of those one-word stamps, like just, I don't know, whatever, night or something like that. I'll figure it out after I get it, this card formatted. Okay, but anyways, I mean, this is not a fast, I mean, a slow, you know, time-consuming card to do. We just stamped this out in black ink, splatter painted right here. I would add the stars in before you splatter paint, because when you add those little glue dots down here, or those little beads of glue, you know, sometimes it's hard to see where the glue is when you're adding in the crystals. So if I can remember to do the crystals first on future pieces, I'm going to do that. Well, I don't know. I've been usually doing the splatter painting and then doing the crystals afterwards, but I'm going to start doing the crystals first. Okay, so, I mean, when we're talking about something like this, the only coloring that you're doing in this scene is those windows right there, you know, on these pieces right here. So here's 3 different versions of the same thing right here, okay? So, recollections. Cheap recollections, warm tone, I don't know, whatever, pumpkin, you know. We should put a couple jack-o'-lanterns down here or something like that for, you know. We should say, like, we should write it up here, like in the same pen. It'll say October 31st, like you're doing like a journal for the person that's up here. October 31st, whatever date, you know, an amount, whatever, and then we should stamp out like a little like a little jack-o'-lantern down here. It's like that little Corona beer ad, you know what I mean, where there's that little hut out in the ocean, you know, the water, and then they turn on the light, and then there's the Christmas lights on that palm tree. Well, this is like a fire tower on Halloween night. And you could put a little jack-o'-lanterns down here or something like that, you know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of cool, or, you know, kind of funny in a way. And then you can make the little jack-o'-lantern, or it could be a pumpkin in the foreground right here too, you know, with the same kind of illuminated eyes, you know what I mean? Like they've lit the jack-o'-lantern or whatever, you know, with an LED light on the inside, because this is a fire to look at, and you don't want a candle in this jack-o'-lantern down here, right? Now I think about it. Okay, so on the much more kind of explosive surface like this one just requires the little whiteout in the background, all right? Because otherwise we wouldn't be able to see this imagery like at all over the top of this super contrasty and explosive patterning of this holographic foil. And then here you just have this really light blue foil like this, right? I did those little glowing little stars up there. I don't know if I like those in this foil. I think I might like it just more bare. That's why I didn't do any right here. See these stars the way they look right here? And see, this one is supposed to, I like some of these glowing stars, like, but see, that looks almost too harsh. And then when I do like that, it interesting that white against a reflective foil is now dark, right? Because that's a white pigment ink right there. But look at this. White is darker than, light, right? So I don't know if that looks good. I mean, I can, this will just wipe off if I want it to, because I didn't spray seal it. But, this is a really minimal look right here. And the thing that I like about these types of foils that are kind of lighter too, I was thinking it might be almost too light for night, but then when you go like this, it gets darker and darker and darker till it's like, I don't know, whatever, midnight or something like that. So it's like, going from twilight to, the darkest of night like that. Maybe this should have been, I don't know if this should have been stamped out in white or, if it looks better in black, because I guess in most, except for that brightest of light like that glary light like that, it'll be mostly like this probably. So I need to, I don't know, play around with that and test it out. Okay, so 3 different looks on the theme. 15-minute cards, at most, I would say. All right. And this one was like, I would say like a 25-minute card, just because you have to lay down that white in the background and then spray seal it and then stamp your imagery over the top of that. We still need to do a little bit of experimentation with that type of ink on there. Or you can just use your Brilliance black ink and not even worry about it. I know the Brilliance ink will give us a really deep impression on top of Brilliance ink, okay? Brilliance black on top of Brilliance white, no problem with the impression. This up here is the Brilliance white, by the way, up there with the lettering up there. Okay, so let me see here. The same together. Blue moon means 2 full moons in 1 month. Is that what that meant? Okay. I was, yeah, my wife was asking me about that. I said, she says, did you get, she heard about that blue moon. I said, I don't think it means that it's blue. I remember reading about what it was before, but I couldn't remember. So it just means 2 in 1 month then. Got it. Okay, Patty, when there are 2 full moons in, okay, yeah. One is called the blue moon, and is that it? So is the blue moon the first one then, and the super moon is the second or something, or? Okay, so, and this people were, classifying them incorrectly. Because I thought, like, one day, like 2 nights ago, I thought some people were saying that was the blue moon. And then I think last night I was looking at everyone's photographs on Facebook, and they were saying it was the super-moon. And not everyone, but I don't know, whoever you're kind of, whatever, friends befriended with. Okay, so let me do another quick one. Okay, so this is like my scrap piece right here from 2 of these ones like this. All right, so I thought I would do something on this, another just really fast piece here. And I wanted to do like a lake. I haven't used my Lakeside Cove in a while. That's usually my go-to stamp for experimentation. I just grabbed it. Okay, here we go. It's underneath all my foils. I'm going to see what I can do about this one and getting this stamped out here correctly, and, in terms of the inadequate amount of time and whatever pressure and ink on the stamp. Hello, Cynthia. Happy Friday. Jewel tool cheap. Take wooden pick and drip in melted candle wax to pick up the jewels. That's a great tip there. Yeah. When this thing came, every time I get these crystal packs, it always comes with like a wax pencil. And I had to ask someone about that. I said, hey, what's with the white colored pencil? They said, I think that's to pick up your jewels with, Kevin. I thought, oh, okay. I didn't know that. I wasn't into bling, until, I don't know, like a year ago or something like that. After I started using all these like louder and louder types of surfaces and media, it was like, all right, I've been talking about like using like crystals in my skies for a long time. Okay, I know the brilliance is going to work on here, but a lot of people just don't have brilliance, but a lot of people have stays on ink. Some people have the stays on ink and they hate it, I've found. Because, things stick and, sometimes it's a little bit, whatever, temperamental, maybe. Just like on, that other foil that I was using on earlier. But there's one thing about the stays on ink on these types of surfaces is that you don't have to spray seal them and it adheres to it. So it removes, some of the process that you would run into, maybe with an easier to apply water-based brilliance ink. All right, so I don't know. I don't know if you all have brilliance ink on you. These days, everyone had it years ago. I had it, never used it, and then I started using it, and almost can't live without it. With some of the holographics that I've been using, both cardstock and printable vinyl. But again, a lot of people just don't have it. If you started stamping it after a certain time, you might not have bought it, but everyone bought it at one point in time because you couldn't get pigment ink to dry on glossy cardstock. Glossy cardstock's one of those things a lot of people haven't used before either, if you got into stamping at a certain point in time. But if you started stamping before a certain time, you would have had glossy cardstock because everyone used to stamp on it. Dee Grunig was one of those people that made it really, really popular back in the 80s. And then she was always on, things like Cara Duvall and things like that. All right, so that was about, I don't know, I should have timed it, but that was like a 3 or 4 second impression. Yeah, I'd say about 3, but here's the thing. If I kept that on here for like another 4 seconds, I think it would have dried. And again, I would have started taking that off, and I'm like removing this printed, whatever, metallic blue ink, I guess, that they're using on there. All right. The blue moon is first. Okay. How many days apart is the blue moon and the super moon then? I was wondering if we were going to see someone that does a lot of astronomy. I was going to say, hey, did you get out and see those moons, or did she get out and photograph those moons? And there was another moon. What was it? Was it last month, or was that the blue moon? I was asking her about the blue. Maybe I was asking her about the blue moon. Was the one just recently the super moon then? Because she took one of those. Her husband took like a time lapse shot of that moon kind of rising, I think, through their telescope. All right, so going for kind of a similar type of foundation down here with that. And where did my quote stamp go? Let's see. Oh. Here, this one's the lake is the daily bread. A lake is the... I'll read it after I stamp it out here. It's too long. All right. I've got a bunch of other acrylic blocks I've got another set of acrylic blocks that I never use. These are the ones that don't have any tack and peel on them. I guess I should use them. All right, so I think I'm gonna do this. It looks so strange, doesn't it, without those stars on there. It's like the same color. I don't know, for some reason this looks darker though, doesn't it? When you go like this. Or is it? Yeah, maybe that looks... Okay, maybe I'm just not at the right angle or something like that. But the question is, do I stamp this in white or do I stamp it in black? That's the big thing that I have for these types of things that have this type of characteristic of going from something that's super light, you know, just really, really dark, just, you know, with... I don't know, that's just changing the angle, like by, I don't know, what is it, like 10 degrees or something like that? Hello, Froggy Fresh! Yeah, we haven't seen you on there for a while. We've seen a lot of, your pooches are keeping you busy. Supermoon means the closest distance to Earth. Oh, second moon, and it's very rare. I think once or twice we have 2 full moons. I thought the blue moon, I thought it was like every, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. My wife was like reading off like a Wikipedia, or I don't know. She Siri'd it or something like that. Because I thought that we had like a blue moon, I don't know, not too long ago. I'm not talking about like, you know, a year or two, but I thought it was like a few years ago. Okay, I'm going to black with this one. And we'll just put it up here. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just, you know, I'm praying that I'm not off by like a, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something like that. All right, that didn't stamp out very dark in the center there. You're seeing kind of an experiment video here, I think. Do you see that right there? It didn't, it pulled it off, you know, because there wasn't enough ink on here. I think this is drier on here because it's a lighter, you know, the letter forms are lighter in line weight. Okay, let me try this again here, and I'll do it up here. Okay, so, see, that was like a couple second impression right there versus, you know, the same time that I had this, but this one has more ink on it, so it's drying slower, okay? This one right here, applied and dried too fast, maybe in the center. Maybe I had more ink around them on the perimeter too. So, can I do something with this area in here? This might be a trash to treasure video as opposed, in addition to this quick scene style of video right here. The easiest thing right here is you just cut off the top, and then you have this, I don't know, kind of more standard size, like 4x6 in here. And I might do that because subconsciously I wanted to add a supermoon rising in the background. All right, here. Let's see. The other thing you can do that's really easy, you just cut out another piece and then frame it off, and then you put that in here, you know what I mean? And those tend to look better anyway. I'm not going to do that on this one, but let's do this right here. I was wondering if I could cover this up with something and then tone in some other things in there. Or I can put a cloud in here if I add in that white pigment ink. Let's give that a try here first, so that you can have something to do if you ever run into it, if this turns out okay. All right. This one's going to be tough, folks, because this is like the hardest it's going to be the darkest, you know, of ink that I'm trying to cover up here. Oh. So what if I put some clouds right in here and then leave that up there? I was just going to, you know, have this like clouds up here. And then, yeah, let me figure it out here. The cloud cumulus might be coming into play here. We'll see how it goes. I haven't even, I don't think I've tried like this cloudy effect on this foil yet either, even just on the bare foil. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so Brilliance White on 100% cotton ball. And let's see how it goes. Okay, I think I'm going to be able to get good coverage out of this. Over that darkest of black, that Brilliance White seems to be covering it up just fine. We're still going to be able to see through there, you know, where we have some letter forms, but I'll just use something else over the front of it. And like I said, maybe the cloud cumulus here. Okay, what I'm running into right now is as I add this ink onto this surface like this, as it dries, I'm finding that when I'm going over it, I'm almost kind of removing some of this white that's already been applied down here because this is kind of setting up and drying, but it's not adhering to the surface. So what you do is you just have to kind of, well, you can spray seal it and then just go over it again. You know, where everything's locked down, you can really build up some more opacity. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to try to keep inking up here. And then what you use is you use a lighter pressure to apply so that you're kind of building up these beads of ink on the surface as opposed to pressing too hard and then removing what you've already applied, you know, the drier version of it. Oh, I know what I'll do. So, you know how I do that thing, if you guys know, where I use the cloud around a perimeter like this sometimes? That's what I'll do right here. All right. See that right there? So it's building up a little bit of opacity. The trick is going to be able to, you know, is kind of getting it into this tree area because I don't want to necessarily cover my trees too much. See, I was reading what someone said here. White pencil to pick up the crystals. Yeah. I was using that originally. I think I had like one of those kind of sped up videos. That's when someone told me about the jewel picker. My jewel picker is not picking up on one side as much because I think it has too much glue built up on there. I need to clean it off, you know, whatever, once in a while. It's like a little piece of rubber on that tip right there. Okay, so it looks like that. It looks like really weird. Actually, it looks kind of cool like that, doesn't it? The edge is like a little bit more blue than the, you know, the interior. That's a lot more opaque. Okay, I got that. Okay, this is wiping off of here just really cleanly, which all the foils do. except for sometimes the recollections, that's a little bit more porous than the other foils. This one seems to be very, very non-porous, I guess. Which kind of surprises me. I guess this one has a softer kind of, you know, brushed aluminum look, so I think, to me, I'm thinking about it more like one of the Stardream papers, the more iridescent types of looking metallic papers, as opposed to thinking about it like, you know, as you know, sealed off as a, you know, a cart, you know, whatever, kind of a more of a mirrored style foil. All right, let's get a little bit of variation into these clouds like this. All right, because this is a huge area right here, relatively, you know, relative to the rest of the area of the card. So we're going to add in some variation into it. And we'll just go with something like this. Again, this is going to be, you know, I'm going to stamp another image right over the top of it. And hope it comes out. But just getting a little bit more variation in the background should help obscure kind of that impression in theory. I laugh at this because what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about this movie came to mind where someone I don't know, they bought some sort of wrong ingredient or something like that. Yeah, so this cook said, okay, let me think. All right, I'll make this out of it, you know, instead. You know, he's going to come up with some you know, type of other type of dish to kind of mask over, you know, the you know, whatever the error, the purchasing error. All right. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at right here. Right? And then we'll come up, this is like this, and now I'm coming up like this, and I'll just change it, and I'll get another variation right here. But I'm going to put it like more opaque up here, and I'll let it transition a little bit down below into a darker area. You know, which might help. I mean, more opacity is definitely going to help, but we'll see how it helps when I stamp out. I think I will need to stamp out that cloud over the top of it. I was going to say, if I can just get it with this white, that would be kind of interesting too, but I just don't think I can get that opaque. I would have to go with so much layering on here. Okay, so we have that right there. The cloud looks pretty interesting in there. Too bad I have that quote stamp underneath there. All right. Okay, so we have these clouds up here like that. So, I mean, naturally, you know, it would be a good idea to put some of that down into our water as a reflection as well. So what I did is I was going like this, right, up here. And then what you do is you flip it around and go like this. Or you can go like, you know, you can go like this right there. And then you can flip this over for kind of a more natural, you know, kind of reflection like that. But the thing is, if I do that, I have a bunch of pigment ink all over right here. And if I go like this and start tapping this into it, that area underneath there with all that pigment ink right there is going to get on there. So I just do this, and I'm just going to go like this, you know. So I mean, you can rip a new, you know, mask too, but you know, I usually just use the same one and then toss this out after I'm done. I don't know. I guess you could reuse it, especially if you're using this Brilliance ink, because this is going to dry on here. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to see what's going on because I have this glare down here, so it's not that much difference between the white and the surface. So kind of take a look at it, and because this is a different type of, look, you're going to alter it, flip it around like that, so you can get, the look of, the gist of what you're creating on there, okay? All right, so that's a little bit harsh down there, especially where it transitions from this to this. So let's go and feather it out a little bit, just with some freehand, and you're putting it right over the area that you've applied it and the bare foil, okay? All right, we're almost there with this repair job here, I think. This is where I wish I had like a blue Brilliance pad. I don't have that, so I'm just going to have to go in straight with the black with my Cloud Cumulus stamp, okay? All right, let's see here. You've been taking care of Tiny Dave. Tiny Dave was who was Tiny Dave again? Froggy Fresh? Or did you say down here Dave is doing great? Is that one of your dogs? I see the big dogs kind of photographed, I think this week. Was it Saint Bernard or something like that? You didn't like it then and brought it back out. You still don't like it. I like the StazOn. What I was using with the StazOn ink was, oh yeah. Candy. So for the reflection cards, when I'm using it on the silver foil down here for reflection cards, I find the StazOn to be like, I was using Brilliance for the longest time, but the problem with the Brilliance is when I spray seal a Brilliance image on this mirrored reflective area, this area here gets frosted out and it's not as reflective. So so even if you're just using if you're doing any type of reflection cards, I would bust out that StazOn for that. The StazOn, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't stamp too much imagery on that reflective area because I want things to reflect into it. So, it's really minimal. It's usually the foreground imagery or something like that, or tiny rocks, to represent floating in the water or something of that sort. So that is really good for that. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this and I got rid of this whole area right here, so it's really light right here, and I got rid of some of this down here, so it's going from very dry up here, wet, and then dry down here, okay? And that it's going dry down here because I already have these trees. I don't want to stamp this dark image over those trees because I won't see the tree silhouette anymore. Now, hopefully, when I was doing all that blabbing right there, the ink, didn't just dry on my stamp right here. So let's see how it goes. All right. So you can still see a little bit, but let me get some more impressions made into there. All right. You can't really see it too much. That's where the kind of a blue Brilliance would have been. I don't know if I don't know. Would a blue Brilliance work? The blue, I don't know. If I stamped it in a lighter ink, maybe you'd be able to see through it and see those letters in there. I don't know. All right, so you take that Cloud Cumulus, rotate around, overlap your previous impression. That, wiping off. Don't stamp over your quote or word stamps with imagery. I still see that down there, so I'm going to address that. Okay, so this one's overlapping this impression right here, but this part right here is overlapping that impression, okay? So just change your angle and wipe off the perimeters and it'll blend in pretty well like that, okay? All right, now let me see if I can integrate this portion with this area down here. All right, let's try this. Let's try to go like this. Let's do a first impression like that and go for a real, hopefully, lighter impression like that as it as it transitions into that lower section, okay? Blot and stamp. I still see it a little bit, but a little bit of white pigment ink now over the top of these clouds should kind of remedy that. All right, so we have this right here, like that. Look at that glowing area down here. So what I'll do is I'll stamp this one this way, okay? So clouds like this are like this, and the reflection will be this way, all right? I'll keep this little area down here a little bit more minimal. With the cloud, it's not going to be a complete mirroring of what's going on up top there because I want to keep some of that area in the water a little bit more, I don't know, whatever, open. I'll blot that off first, like so. Let's really wipe that off around the edge. Go like this. Okay, so it's just kind of suggested down there like that. All right. East Springfield, beautiful night. Sounds nice. Right here where we are, it's cooled down a little bit, but it has been like swelteringly hot over this last week and humid. We had that one, I don't know, whatever, tropical storm that came through. When was it? Last 2 weekends ago or something like that? Or is it 3 at this point in time? And then it went back up. It was 92 yesterday. And I think today it was 82 or something like that, but it seems like extra humid. I should just do this one in the Brilliance ink at this point in time because I'm going to have to spray seal this anyways because I went over this with all that Brilliance. But I need practice here with my, I don't know, whatever stays on, my stays on technique. All right, so there's the foundation right there. I think I do need to spray seal this a little bit, and I've really changed the characteristic of it. And this is no longer a quick scene or something like that, but it's, you know, whatever. It's a scrap to scene, you know, instructional video right there. So I guess you can cover things up. See, I can still see that lettering through there, but I'm going to put another layer of a little bit of pigment ink over that. I can't do it right now because it's wet. But I'll seal it down, I'll lock it down, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. I'll post it somewhere. But, okay, so now we have all this element of lighting up here. So, you know, I really do have to add in some highlights into here. because of that lighting and how it's kind of, you know, reflecting off of these other things in here. Let's get in a couple extra impressions in here. With the trees, should I go with the... All right, I'm going to go with the brilliance right here. I really want these ones to be really dark in here, because I'm spray sealing anyway. Why not? So spray sealing the brilliance because it dries but doesn't adhere to the surface. And just remember, there's some inks that don't dry at all on a non-porous surface, like something like an oil-based pigment ink, a la VersaFine Clair, probably. Your color box, Clear Snap color box, pigment inks, things like that. I'm not sure if like the chalk one would dry. Maybe. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that. All right, so we have that right there. I'm not going to splatter paint up there because there's too many letter forms that are too small and delicate. You know, if you get a dot over, this one's upper and lowercase, so if you get a dot in the wrong spot, it looks like you dotted something, you know. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to come in too with my light blue one at first. Which is like the exact same value as the paper, so it's barely showing up, but it'll show up if I tilt it. Actually, it shows up really well if it's just kind of a little bit in the dark like that. But it's one of those disappearing inks like that too, where you go like that and it's visible in the light, and you go like that, you know, and it's practically gone. Here, let's do that right here. Let's make use of that kind of property of it. So visible and kind of hovering. I'm talking about the letter forms in here. It looks a little bit more 3D visible, and you know, at nighttime it's just gone like that. See that? We'll put some highlights on these rocks down here. See, they're a little bit lit as is, just because there's shadow forms in the rock image itself. Right here, the top sides of them are a little bit light, and you're just reiterating that with a little bit more media here. In this case, that's a lighter version, I guess. It's a little bit lighter than the paper. All right, that looks like this. Look at that. You can almost, yeah, you can really see it like that. It's hardly anything. You can't really see it very much at all, but then you start going like this. It's almost like too much lighting like that when it's really light like that. I'm going to gear it for average lighting though. You know, what someone's going to be looking at it like in normal lighting. Okay, so I'm holding it out, you know, from my studio lights like this. Let me see if you can see a little bit like that. See, this is, I would say that this is, let me try to get it. That's about the average lighting, I think, that you'd see in a room, okay? So I'm going to try to configure it for the ideal, whatever lighting based on that, okay? So it's like, I'd say it's like that right there. All right. I'll put a few little highlights on my trees right here. This is what I was talking about. This is why I use the crystals in my sky. When it's really a fast paint. You can put a couple crystals up here too, and that'd be cool. I don't know if there's room, or would that be too much? Maybe that's too much. It's already crawling with kind of stuff up there, so maybe not. Maybe it'd make it too loud. A few little highlights on the clouds, maybe. I was going to use the white in here as well, but maybe this blue one is, you know, as loud as I want it to be at that kind of, you know, that angle. All right, so there's that. Let me try to hit it a little bit more with some pigment ink in here. I think I'm going to use the Q-tip. All right, let's see. Did anyone try to get a picture of those moons? That was one of the comments. It's hard to get a really good picture of a moon. Some of the latest, you know, the latest cameras kind of, it's built in. There's like the setting in them to take night photography, right? I don't know, maybe some of the latest iPhones or something like that, or I don't know, like that, like the Google Pixel has a really good camera on it. But some of those ones really take amazing photographs. I think it has a setting on it. My phone is like really old, so I don't have that. But some of them are really, really pretty amazing. It's really amazing what you can do with so many different phones these days, you know, and just the what do they call it? The IQ of phones with the processing power can really take some really spectacular low light photos. Okay, so with this white pigment ink, I'm kind of putting some of this right on the top billowing portions of some of these clouds. It's really, I'm picking up a lot of the black, so I should really spray seal this first. I might have to go outside and spray seal this if I'm going to do this, though. I don't know if anyone really wants to see it or not. Okay, because I want to build up some more of this value in here, in this one. It looks pretty three-dimensional, though, I'm finding so far on this foil. Let me see. There are other permanent black inks out there. Yeah, that's what I want to know, too. I know that, you know, so solvent ink, SAISON is just one type. Are the archival inks, are those ones solvent inks or not? Or are they just kind of archival and non-fading or something like that? I thought I had one of them, but I don't think I've used it before. I don't have a black, whatever, archival ink. Blue moons happen more often than the supermoon. Okay. Okay, so Bonnie, your sister took a pic. That's cool. Hello, Caroline. What did Kevin say about the recollections papers? Oh, good, you answered, Patty. Okay, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to spray seal this. It's going to take me like 2 minutes here. I'm going to spray seal it with a workable fixative because I really want to get this kind of area in here developed a little bit more. And I want to see what it's going to come out like myself, so I don't know, it's one of those like challenge things here. So I'll be right back. Everyone go get a drink or whatever. Stay hydrated. Okay, I hit it with a Krylon spray fixative. Probably any type of spray sealant would work. The spray fixatives, they tend to be like a thinner um, acrylic sealant, and they dry pretty fast because they're supposed to be used where you're going to be sealing down your existing media. And, a lot of times you're working on it right away, charcoals, pastels, that type of thing. But let's see how that went. Okay, so when I spray sealed this too, this is almost like these pigment inks, especially white ones or lighter ones, they often can look a little bit more transparent when you spray seal them, just as if you're spray sealing like pastels or chalks or something like that, or, I don't know, white Conte crayon over, a darker background or something like that. Highlights, okay? So that's what happened here. But I feel that I can probably build up a lot more in here if I want to now that, that first layer of base coat white has been, affixed to the surface, okay? So let me try to do a couple things in here. I'm going to try to go a little bit more varied in here. So if you logged on to, I titled this piece kind of quick scenes and quick scenes on foil, but we changed it to, possibly the longest scene ever done on a foil surface before. If you just logged on, I stamped out the my quote stamp, and it totally, I don't know, did what I was talking about not doing, and it kind of lifted some of the foil surface off of the surface of the 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 paper, because it was like a more delicate thing, and it just dried a lot faster and lifted. I don't know. You have to, you can go back and check it out. I don't know what it was, like a half an hour ago or something like that. All right, so building up a little bit more of these tones in here. Oh, that's like extreme. Let's see. Let's spread it around a little bit more. That. All right. That's getting really light right there. I almost need to add in a moon to be the light source for these lighter areas in here now. We'll just put the big supermoon. We'll eradicate this one and put in a supermoon right in here, rising up from the clouds. Okay, that spray sealing I'm finding too. I'm getting that black. I didn't coat it too much, but it's kind of, it's mucking up everything. You might see the first piece that I've done that I could not bring it back. I'm sure if I spray seal this enough and create enough layers, I think I could pull it out. White pigment ink usually bails me out of just about everything, because it can cover up just about everything. But this one's looking like, I think I just mucked it up even more in that background. We'll do that, line your back and look up at the trees here and just do like big solid, pine trees like surrounding this here. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, the recollection paper on a quick card early. Okay, so the recollections papers, that was this scene right here. All right. That's a very quick scene. And that was the orange. And I used orange stars and yellow stars up there as well on that scene. And I need to stamp a quote up there too. But the recollections papers, you can do and apply a quick or lengthy impression on there. Okay, this one right here, I'm gonna do another video. I'm gonna lock this down again. I really want to bring this one out of the background, but that cloud structuring up there, this isn't dry in here, so I need to spray seal it again. I need to let it dry and then spray seal it again, maybe a couple times, to really get that all locked down so that I can add in these crisper forms in here. But right now, you know, it's getting on my you know, my applicators like this. You can see it's black like that. But I think it has potential like that in there in terms of the overall look. It looks really 3D, but I'm losing my definition in here. So what I'll do is I'll come in here with crisper forms or something like that. And oh, here's the other thing too. When I use that brilliance ink down here, I forgot about this. If I let that dry and I spray seal it, I can come into that and I can stamp out other types of colored impressions over the top of it with dye-based inks. So it really opens up because you're stamping on top of the dye. I think I can do that on the foils. I know I can do it on the printable vinyl sticker paper. So, all right, so I need to let this one dry. This one's it's driving me nuts right now. But I like that three-dimensional kind of look it's giving me right now. But like right up there, I would want to mirror that down here a little bit, but it's just so wet and everything's like malleable. So I don't think I can get that same type of thing I got up right there, right here, right now, because it's just so kind of unpredictable. All right, so I'll work on that one. All right, so let's go with, you know, a couple of the other things. So I wanted to do something on this too. This is the printable vinyl sticker paper right here, okay? And let's go back. I need to change my mindset right here to go back to some of these faster pieces. So the faster pieces, you know, we're talking about, you know, like 15 minutes or so, something like that. And the printable vinyl sticker papers are pretty fun. Get your brilliance pads, though, to do something like this. So, okay, so it's really hot right now and muggy for me, but I tend to think this is kind of it's a weird paper to stamp on. It's a really strange type of patterning to it. I find that like these holographics to be easier to work around with our imagery. Because to me, you know, you do that, and if this is in the sky or something like that, it can look like a, you know, Northern Lights type of thing. But these more shardy types like this, or this, I don't know what we'd call this. It's like a digital, you know, like a, I don't know, how would you describe this one? It would be like a, I don't know, it's like one of those, it looks to me like something digital, you know, going on in the background or something like that. Those are kind of stranger to kind of work around. I used to think these ones were, but, you know, these little starry patterns like that, but I find that they work great for skies anyways. So I wanted to do this one, but do it in this same kind of general composition like this and take a look and see what it looked like, okay? So, Brilliance White. We're going to block out, and we're going to do the same type of thing that I just did on the foil cardstock, but on the printable vinyl sticker papers, this is like really sticky because it has this emulsion coating. What you lay down with this thing like sticks on this and dries like instantly, okay? So it's almost the opposite characteristic of applying this on a non-porous paper, okay? So this type of paper right here, has been designed to take your ink from your inkjet printer and dry it really fast, okay? So, again, it's one of those things, you just keep that in mind, and, to do a little test printing if you haven't used it before, okay? So let's go with something. So on something like this, where especially, we're not going to be able to see imagery if we stamp, over the top of it very well because it's so loud and textural like that, okay? So let's see, let's go like this, and I'll just come up with my little cloud like this. If you're on Facebook, you can check out my if I do repair this, or I'll show you what I come up with this one. But I also should put it on my Flickr account. Flickr account, you don't need an account to view anything on there. You don't have to be signed into the system or something like that. All right, so adding this down on here to kind of block out that background. I don't want it blocked out completely, to opacity a lot of times. Because I do love the characteristic of this paper. I just want to be able to see my images over the top of it. But if some of this does show up a little bit, then so be it. But I just want to be able to see my images pretty decently. So on this, if I put down a big blob of it like that, okay, that really sticks like that, okay? And I can't really spread it around. I can add more around it like that, but this right here, you can see, is stuck, okay? If you do that on the foils, like this, okay, right? This you can just remove with no problem, okay? So that's the difference between, the printable vinyl sticker papers. Not the holographic sticker papers, not the cold laminate holographic papers, but it's the printable vinyl ones. The printable is the key word on this one. Okay. And this is just going to represent a cloud here. I'll show you what I was talking about with the dye-based ink impressions into this white right here. I haven't done this for a while. I kind of got away from it because I was doing like it all the time. It's really easy to get addicted to this technique right here because it's really fun because you can add colored pencils or something like that. You can print dye-based inks on to the Brilliance white application here because it dries and adheres really fast, and it dries in like a porous, copy paper-ish I don't know, whatever layer on there, okay? And it just surprisingly accepts a lot of different media. Maybe because it's water-based too, I'm not sure. Alright, so I'll go like this, and I'm trying to give it a little bit, this one's a little bit harder to kind of feather it out a little bit, but what you do is you just come into it with a drier application here, about like so. Alright, so you can see where it's blocked off, quite a bit of that. You do see some of it in here. Maybe I'll come in a little bit stronger like that. But again, it's blocked off pretty well to the point where, I don't really need to worry about it in terms of, not being able to see the imagery that I'm going to stamp over the top of it here. This printable vinyl sticker paper, it doesn't come in too many different patterns. I would say I'd probably seen 10 at most, and they usually come in a multi-pack. there's the bare ones that come like this, but then, when you get into kind of these types of colors or something, there are patterns. Um, it's kind of, I don't know, there's about 5 or 6 different types, and they're usually in a multi-pack of the different patterns. And they all seem pretty good to me and about the same quality. I'm guessing they're coming out of the same factory somewhere. Or at most, there's probably 2 factories. And there's probably about, I don't know, 15 different brands of them out there. But they're probably all made out of the same place. Okay, so I'm going to have this little kind of opening in my sky like this for some starlight maybe over the top of that background like that. Let's see. I need to get caught up with the posts here if anyone asks anything, or if, someone didn't answer it for them. Let's see. Caroline, you just bought the gold. Yeah, okay, yeah. So Caroline, the StazOn ink on that one. When stamping on that, when using the StazOns, to me, I find it really good to re-ink before usage, okay? And I need to get in the habit of only re-inking the amount, a little bit more than what I'm going to be using, because I find that StazOn ink really dries even in the closed pad. I should store it in a Ziploc bag, though, probably. Oh, you want the Recollections paper, too. Yeah. What one did you buy, Caroline? Did you buy the Jewel Tone pack, or did you buy the multicolored pack, or there's the holographic, and then there's the multicolored primary pack, too. I'm such a penny pincher, but not on saving a tiny piece of paper towel. That's why we use the paper towels these days. Or I do. Yeah, the gold works really well. So Caroline's mentioning she bought the gold foil, and the gold looks really beautiful with... let me see if I have a piece of gold here. I'll get to this card really fast here, but the gold... I don't have just the straight... Did I have the straight gold here? I don't have the straight gold here, but the gold... not this one, but the gold version of this one right here works really well with the holographic up top. It gives it a really warm reflection down there. I was using mostly the silver for the longest time, but then I started using the gold ones. Okay, so if you're doing a sunset and it's reflecting down in your water, use the gold. So any type of warm-toned scenery up top, try the gold below, and I think that looks really good. Look at my playlist, though. I have the playlist that is that has all of the reflection cards in there. And you can see both versions of it, the silver and the gold. When I started using the gold, I think I started using it with all of my warmer toned compositions. All right, so this is just the Brilliance ink on here. And the Brilliance ink on here, right? If we stamp it on this, this type of paper, it needs to be spray sealed. And on this is adhered, no problem, on the printable sticker paper. It just dries like instantly. So you don't even need to worry about it. It's really, really fantastic. Okay, now on one of these other ones too, I was trying to, I don't know, where it didn't print really well, I went into this with my little ballpoint pen, and it was like scraping off the pigment ink as opposed to transferring ink onto the surface. On the printable sticker paper, it's not gonna, you're not gonna run into an issue with that. because this paper, again, that emulsion is really grabbing that ink really aggressively. And, you know, it's meant to grab your ink and to hold on to it because it's, you know, meant for a printer and coming out of your printer. So, you know, it has to dry and adhere really fast. And, you know, if you're printing out something like a photo, that's a lot of inkjet printer ink that's coming out of there. So, you know, this paper has to address that type of issue, you know, accordingly. Or it has to work, you know, like what it's supposed to. So, not a crafter's paper, but I don't know, I find it works really fantastic for crafting or for stamping, provided you're just using the right ink with it. A lot of people, okay, so some people went and tried this, okay? And when I get comments, a lot of times people say, hey, you know, Kevin, I tried that, or, you know what I mean? Or I'll post something and they'll say, hey, I tried it, okay? And it didn't work for me at all, okay? And most of the time, I'll always ask them, I'll say, hey, you know, what ink were you using? And it's usually something like, hey, I used like a VersaFine Clair on it. Or I used a Memento on this, okay? And that's probably not going to work on this, or certain types won't work on this paper. Certain brands of it, okay? I did a test print with, you know, some things on here. This was dye. Okay, this is Brilliant, stays on in Clair. So it just depends on what combination you're doing. But some of the things are really specific. So, like if you wanted to use colored pencils on this or something like that, you got to lay down the Brilliance white as opposed to like the Color Box, you know, Frost white or something like that. That was an oil-based one. That's what I was thinking. But a lot of times people are like using different types of media that might not be very compatible with whatever technique you're doing. So, you know, that being said, there's a lot of different combinations out there. And I've, like with this video and this live stream right here, I'm testing out some things like this. So if you ever run into any problem, don't just try to, you know, keep like forcing it and forcing it and forcing it. You know, just drop me an email or something like that, or an IM if you're on Facebook, and just tell me exactly what you're doing. And, you know, if I know that there's some kind of incompatible thing that I've run into before, I'll just, you know, I'll get you directed in the, you know, the right direction. You know, I really, you know, there's the whole thing about the zen of learning and kind of, you know, doing it through experimentation, but you don't want to read where someone went through like several sheets of, you know, their holographic cardstock and ruined it all or something like that. So, I don't know, just let it be known or something like that. You know, you don't have to be embarrassed about it, you know. I run into that thing like today, you know, with my piece. Okay, let's see, that's blue. I don't hardly see that one. Let's go a little bit darker here. All right, this is the Cloud Cumulus, and I'm wiping off that top, but I'm stamping it this way. Okay, so those billows are going into the scene like that. All right. And I might hit it again. I'm not sure if I wanted this in here. This harsh line like that is a little bit awkward. So I might come in there with a little bit of texturing like this. I don't know, this might not be a 15-minute card either, but it'll be a little bit longer. But once you get all this kind of stamped out, you know, these kind of scenes are almost done. You don't really have to do too much more to them because all the colors are up here, you know, inherently in the paper. So it's not like we're going to be adding in like tons of like shading and, you know, color additions on there, you know, to make our whatever sky colors in the background. All right, something like that. And let's see. On this one here, let's just stick with white. We already have white in those windows, but maybe I can make it a little bit lighter. Like that. Dave is a cat. Okay. Got it. The text peeking through the clouds. I'm glad you like that, because I gotta really repair some of that in there. Permanent black ink from Alt New and Gina K Designs. Do I have that one from Gina K? Someone sent me that one. I think. I can't find it right now. Oh, wait. Here. What? Oh, wait. Oh, that's not Gina K. I was thinking of the Catherine. Does anyone use the Catherine Pooler Midnight Premium Archival ink? Does anyone know what this is? Nancy from Nancy Stamps sent me that, but I haven't used it yet, but I need to. I forgot I had it for a while, and I was cleaning up my desk a little bit, and I came across that. I mean, I can look online, which I'll do, but I didn't know what that was. And someone told, I think the other Catherine Pullers are all dye-based inks, right? But I was wondering if this was their, stays on. And if you've used it, how did you like it? Maybe, in comparison to the stays on, if you've used both. We would love to know. Okay, so colored pencils right here. On my, we are now coloring. We're not coloring the printable vinyl. We're coloring white brilliance ink, dried white brilliance ink that's been applied over the top of that. So see, you can do these little things like this. You can add in some shading if you want to. Like if I wanted to add in like yellow in that, I could have used my paint pen, but I guess I can also have used a colored pencil too, like a yellow one or something like that. So I'm just adding in some little bit of extra volume into these rocks by coloring in kind of the lower portions of them where it's dark in the rock. I'm just adding those darker areas in there like that to make them look a little bit more three-dimensional like that. So when you're coloring and coloring for lighting, what you're doing is you're just basically coloring the darker areas of the designs, okay? So coloring, you're reiterating shadow forms in here. So see, this area right here is darker, so you would come in, and color that area on here. See, this little area right here is a little bit darker, so you can color in like that. So just hit it with a little kind of a lighter touch like that, and just get a little bit of value laid down there. Here's a little bit of a lighter blue like this. One of my really favorite blues around here somewhere. Oh, here we go. This one right here. This one's almost the same color as this blue right here. And you can layer that in here. You can't layer, forever with onto this brilliance white down here, because it's just a thin layer, that brilliance white, that's providing just enough kind of texture and tooth for these pencils to adhere to. But pretty soon you start to build up a lot of this, waxy surface with the pencil where you can't really lay down anymore like you are if you as if you were using a white pencil on a piece of textured you know cardstock or something like that, or paper that's more conducive for colored pencil work. But I don't know, it's not too bad though. It's just the fact that you can use colored pencils on any type of kind of metallic like this. It's, to me, it's really amazing. It's like a miracle. So that's why I don't want to, we were talking about discontinued media on one of the latest videos in the discussion, the chat area. And I don't know, someone was saying that, I don't know, one comment was saying that, I don't know, what was it? Who said, I don't know, Linda, someone said it, like there's more, media or stuff that's not around any longer than there is, that still exists. I don't know, it was something along those lines. There's a lot of stuff that's still out there that you couldn't get before that are new, but there are a lot of different lines. Oh, I think someone was mentioning it where I was posting all those Marvy re-inkers that I was, kind of getting rid of. Just, because, people can't get those anymore. Or, I don't know, Marvy's starting to run out of some of this stuff, so I want to slowly start to phase out my usage of them too, because I want to be using a bunch of stuff that's really you can't get anymore. But the Brilliance inks are on my pray that doesn't get discontinued list, because I don't know of too many people that just use it in general. Splatter painting some stars in this little opening in the sky to give it extra layering and texture. Okay. But if you like this look and this technique, and this goes for me as well, I should get 10 re-inkers for this thing or something like that. I don't know. For me, though, just about everything that I do, I put into a video just, in case someone wants to kind of do something like that. Okay, so here's the splatter painting. You can't see it at all against that loud texturing like that, but if you tilt it like this a little bit, or if it's in like a darker area. Okay, this one's not standing out too much still because of all that. Even at a different angle like that, there's still some lighter areas, so I'm going to hit it with some of this and give myself a stronger starlight dot here. Put your favorite constellation or something up there. That would be cool. All right. Or if you want to use some crystals on there, if you're going to do the crystals on here, like little star forms up there. Let me see if you can see these stars a little bit more. See this one's in there now? Yeah, you can see it a little bit more. But little crystals like this, mount this first, and get it adhered to, whatever you're going to, frame it on or something like that. And then add the stars after that, because sometimes when I've put it on here, then I'm, adhering this to something else. Sometimes my little stars, fall off, and you got to redo them again anyway. But this one right here, okay, so this is pretty cool down here. See some of that little texturing? You can see a little bit in the rock down there like that. But it's not overpowering like that where it's like, oh my god, the rocks are see-through. But then we have our clouds up here like that. I mean, this wasn't like a 10-minute card or something like that, but it didn't take too long. And you can put whatever type of patterning you want up there. I think that looks kind of interesting. It probably looks better, though, with this one. The more kind of, I don't know, whatever, northern lighty looking, celestial type of look like this. I wanted to do this one, though, because it's like super hot out, and this one reminds me of ice. So this is the one that I used for my ice cave scene. That looked like awesome, but I really buried a lot of it here and there. But when you tilt this around like that. I know it's really fun. I've mentioned this in the past, that if I'm stamping out a scene for a kid these days, I'm stamping it out on a holographic type of paper like this, just so it gives it, some extra bling, and you know what I mean? We need a little bit of extra something in the scene for a kid, to look at visually or something like that. Glow in the dark is even, would be even better. Or this and glow in the dark. Can you imagine doing something like this, and then you dig your glow in the dark paint, and then you do the windows in the glow in the dark paint? I think that would be really, really cool. So it'd give the kids something to look at, like something like this. Or you can do, little dots of the glow in the dark stars. I don't know if it's going to really shine very much, but they can keep, they can look at it in the dark too, or a moon. You can do that, like a moon up here too. So you can cut out a stencil or something like that, right? Wouldn't that be cool up here? To have a little bit of a moon that some kid, can charge up in the light, and keep next to their bed or something like that, so when, flip off the light, I don't know. Unless they're, they got a night light on, it's super light in their room. But, they can have something to kind of enjoy in different types of, I don't know, situations. So anyway, let's see. Not solvent. I'm loving this beautiful piece. Glad you like it, Susanna. I just read that the archival ink is a mixture of pigments. What does that mean, though? What type? Oil-based pigments, I wonder? I know the hybrids. See, that's what. So I don't know what the archival inks were. I don't think I assumed that they were solvents, but they're not, though, huh? And then I didn't know if archival just meant that they're non-fading or something like that, like the mementos are supposed to be. Oh, they're dye, and so maybe they're just non-fading probably, and like acid-free, you know what I mean, non-color changing or something like that. Pixels and Pac-Man. Oh yeah. This one right here, huh? Where'd that other one go? I don't know, wherever it went. Yeah. Yeah, they do they look like little pixels. This one I did with the winter ash trees, I think, and a little figure down in the corner. I thought this would be too digital looking, but in the background when you used it with the brilliance ink and you did you did some type of effect with it, it looked pretty cool. I think I gave it away because I don't think I have it anymore. But, yeah. Okay, so people were talking about a reflection card too. This type of thing is really fun to add up into your top reflection, type of thing. All right, so I don't do reflection cards vertical like this usually because this is too long up here. And if you do a reflection card like this, it gets a little bit... This area up here gets really obscured because the distance between these two, are too long. And then you also get these sides right here. So when you're doing a reflection card, it looks like this. Okay. But see, this little area right here is a little bit too long. But that being said, if you just look and see what this kind of little reflected area looks like in that reflected area, it's really cool to have this type of motion reflecting down in that lower area like that. So it's really fun to do. It'd be fun to do like some kind of thing where it's just like a couple little, let's say you just put these trees out to the side on this type of paper right here. Just imagine you have a couple of trees like here, like it's a horizon, like a couple little islands out here. And then you have this celestial Milky Way, or you can use that digital pixel one or something like that, and then you have this kind of reflecting down on the water like that. I think that would be really cool. And then you have this rock down here, positioned down here, and these stronger trees down here, okay? Because again, this area down here kind of gets a little bit blurry, by the time this area down here is reflecting this distance right here. So the best reflections are the closest like that in a reflection card. But I don't know. I need to do some more reflection cards because I love them. But again, after I start doing them, I start doing them like I can't stop doing them. And I don't know, just a lot of people haven't tried them. I don't know, a lot of people are worried about it. But there's nothing easier to do than just stamp a couple images on blacking it on a piece of foil cardstock and just add it to the inside of your card. So instead of kind of the action taking place on the outside of the card where you're opening it up and there's less stuff in here, you know, you have something a little bit more bare, and then you're opening it like that, and just like a big reveal, you know what I mean? And you can even have this where it'd be really cool. So it's wintertime or something like this too. Not with this scene, but you know, if you had a lake or something like that in the sky, it'd be cool that, you know, you can take your like little pen like this and you can write, you know, your note to someone in this water like this, and it would look like it's kind of, you know, writing on top of ice or something like that. Or you could put some ice skaters in here, and you can write in like cursive in here, and then, you know, that last letter you kind of do like a little stroke, and then you put that skater right there, like, you know, it's like the skater, you know, was, you know, carving out the letter forms in the ice. So I don't know, that's another like live, that's like next week's live stream, or something like that. But yeah, so this type of paper like this, you know, if you're dealing with like expensive papers too, like this type of Mary lava paper. This Mary lava paper, someone sent this to me, okay? Shout out to Helen for sending me some of this paper. So she wanted to see how some of it was used, so I sent her out like a bunch of my originals that I did with the paper. But this paper like here, like, is like $1 a sheet. Now this is like a half sheet, you know, it's like an 8.5 by 11, but you know, this paper right here is like 60 sheets, full-size sheets for like $17. So it's like really inexpensive. But what I would do is I would do a bunch of reflection cards like that. So if you're dealing with some really expensive papers, you know, you're mirroring it and you're like getting, I don't know, in a way you're getting like double for your money in a reflection card type of, you know, kind of format. So I don't know if I did that yet either, but that's because I was just experimenting around with that paper and trying to figure out how to work it with the different types of media. All right, my gosh. This is supposed to be like a, you know, some really quick fire types of examples of scenes, and I got stuck on this one right here because of that, you know, that imprint down there. I don't like that print showing through there. I thought, is that what you guys were talking about? I don't know if you're just, you know, trying to be nice, but that's one I really want to get this one kind of layered a little bit more. It's probably going to have to be a little bit more extreme. I'm probably going to put this like big band of clouds coming across here like that, and then I'll do something similar down here in the water like that, and we'll really jack this one up. I don't know, maybe some acrylic paint pens or something like that. But these ones right here, so this one's one that I did earlier, but I don't know, whatever, 4 different types of looks like this on these types of papers, all relatively quick. This one's took a little bit longer, of course, on the printable vinyl, but these ones right here, I think they're really fun to do. And these ones, I don't know, I think they're cool, you know. So if you do some kind of like structure, that interior lighting on there I think is really good, because these foils, like I said, they have that different personality going from something like, you know, whatever, really daytime or something like that, to nighttime, just with a, you know, 10-degree change in the angle like that. So it's almost like, you know, day and night or something like that. The holographics like that, block out the background a little bit, get the feel of what it's going to look like that. The blue one of this I really love, but I don't know if they're selling it anymore, or did they bring it back? I'm not sure. I think they might have brought it back, okay? I think it was sold out for a while. Recollections, the orange, one of those colors that I haven't used very much, but I really love that look right there. With that, and then I added the red and gold, or orange stars up there in the sky like that. And the printable vinyl sticker paper. So when you mount this one, you have a choice of, you can either add your adhesive on the back of this, or you just peel this off and then mount it to whatever you're going to mount it on, or mat it, and it's ready to go. But this one right here, kind of crazy looking like that, but I don't know, it mellows out a little bit more slightly, and you can see those little stars up there. I don't know. I don't know if a quote would really read up there or not, but I don't know. That was really fun to me. This to me reminds me of I don't know, kind of those. You remember those glitter things with like. It was like a lava lamp, but it's not. It's not. It had that like glitter things on the interior, kind of going around like that. But that kind of reminds me of that. Those types of things I find kind of mesmerizing. Like lava lamps, or like old oil lamps or something like that. I like that kind of movement in there. And that's what you can kind of do kind of in like some kind of like very small way with like little reflectives like this, and how they capture the light like that without having to add in any type of official really actual lighting into there, which always looks cool too. And I was on with that Copictopia owner, and she was showing me her illuminated things where you do that little clicky thing and those three-dimensional things with those LEDs on there. It'd be kind of cool to add that into something like that in the future, but you can kind of just get away with just some version of interior illumination, which is with a paint pen like that. So I don't know, so pretty fun stuff. And these ones, like I said, are really quick to do. All right, so anyway, let's see. Gold, yeah, gold and the holographic, Caroline. That might have been my favorite combination. You can see a lot of different combinations really quickly too. I did that video called did I call it What is Stampscapes, or How Do You Use It, or something like that, fairly recently. So you can see a lot of different versions of the things in just one quick video. It's like a 3-minute video too. It's really good to compare and contrast too with that. But yeah, the gold with the holographic. I haven't tried it with this crazy holographic or something like that, but just with the regular, holographic like that and the gold was my favorite combination. Using this one in a reflection card format, I think. I just like the warmth that it brought to it, The other one's the silver is more mirrored and reflective, but the gold one is warmer. So it just added warmth to it. And then when you're doing stuff like this too, when you're adding these things, I should say, this type of paper reflects down into here, but this also reflects back up into here too. So they're firing back and forth like that. I think I have let me see if I have a piece of my gold here. I moved a lot of my paper to the other room. Okay, so I do have it here. I guess I took some of my gold over there. So here's the gold one like this. And you can see that like that. So you can see what this coloring looks like down there. Okay, so this is on the gold. But do you see that gold, where this paper is, influencing the top area too, like that? You can see some of those gold tinges in here. It depends on what angle you have it at too. So when someone's opening up a card, a reflection card, they're going like this. So you see those gold tinges up in here too, and they're reflecting back and forth. So it looks like that, okay? It's also the motion of it, not just viewing something at its open state like that in a reflection card, but I like this look right here. That motion that it gives to it, okay? So that's the gold, and then, you know, here's the silver one like this. So, you know, it's a little bit of a different look. You know, it's just, I don't know, this one's somewhere like a, like a prism or something like that. And then here you can see it like this one again. Okay, like that. So there's that movement like that. I don't know. Like I said, I use that one for like warmer tone scenes. You know, I probably wouldn't use like the gold one for, I don't know, maybe winter. But I don't know. You could maybe, you know, you have it, you know, this one with the antique vintage paper. Let me see if I have any of those scenes here. Let's see what this vintage paper would look like against gold too. I mean, this isn't, you know, a lake or something like that, but you can see what something like that. That's vintage paper. Maybe not. But if I was going to do a reflection card with this warm vintage paper, I'd use the gold more than the silver. I think the silver, I don't know, that silver looks pretty good. That's just mirroring that paper pretty good. I don't know. More experiments to come with that. So anyway, let's see. I didn't know it could be either, but here's what I copied Google. Archival ink may be pigment or solvent based in archival media. Maybe it just depends on the brand then, right? Are there special envelopes for slimline cards? Does anyone have an answer for that? Okay, Vintage Scrapbook has the Catherine Pooler. Vintage Scrapbook, do you have the Midnight Premium Archival, though, the black one? Someone told me this is the black. There's only one. That's what I was told, that the Premium Archival Catherine Pooler is a different type than the other Catherine Pooler inks that are dye-based, right? And that's what someone told me. I haven't looked. Okay, wait. Midnight works great. Take a little time to dry, but it's archival, so works great on any... Oh, wait, so you're saying that this archival right here dries on the, like, the foils, then? But it takes longer to dry? That would lead me to believe it's a oil-based ink then, if it takes a little bit of time to, or unless it's a water-based and it takes a little bit of time to dry. Let me try it right here. Oh, wait, let me see. Here, I'll stamp it on, I'll stamp it on a little corner of this one. Oh my God, that is like super juicy. Wow. Boy, that is black though. Oh my God. I almost can't even ink this up properly. I'm getting too much ink on it. Nancy probably took care of me though, and, you know, re-inked this before she sent it out to me. She just had an extra one. That is a sopping wet amount of ink on there. Maybe I'll go for the second impression. This one's going to take forever to dry, just even if it was like a solvent, I think. All right, so there it is right there. Does it say on the back? Okay, this is a quick drying permanent ink. Gives amazing coverage and gorgeous stamped images on coated and uncoated cardstock. Okay, this archival ink works beautifully with alcohol and water-based markers. So if it's a solvent-based, permanent usually means solvent though. But this one can be used with the alcohol inks then? Because usually with the, like a StazOn, you can't go over with alcohol inks because it's going to put those alcohol inks back into solution. So, I don't know. I'll wait for this one to dry. This one just happens to be like way too juicy, but it does look like it's setting up though. A little bit as juicy as it is, like totally puddled up though. All right, so we'll learn about some of that too. God, that pad was like, that was the juiciest pad I've used in my life. All right. Good night, Patty. Good night, Froggy Fresh. Okay. Where did you find the glow-in-the-dark stickers? Was that a question for me, Caroline? The glow-in-the-dark stickers, if you're referring to the scene that I did before using that, I got them on Amazon, and I think I just looked up glow-in-the-dark stickers or stars, I think. And I used the... I think I used the rounds one like this, and it looks like this. Glow-in-the-dark stickers. Build your dream. I don't know, whatever it says. Starry night, glow-in-the-dark. So I bought the one. They come in like a bluish tone tinge, and they come in like a green, and I think like a white or something like that. But these ones are... I got these ones like this that are a little bit more raised like this than the sticker types, you know, the paper sticker types, because I figured these ones are going to hold more of a charge, you know, when you charge them up with that lighting, and they do pretty good. So if you're referring to that, that's... I found these on Amazon, and they were, I don't know, they were do not feed after midnight, made on Earth. But yeah, I need to use those on other things. I was thinking about that recently too. Okay, Susanna used archival inks when I did my watercolor. Okay. So some archivals are pigment and some are solvent. Is that what we figured out there? Okay, so they don't bleed. Is that the whole thing with archival inks, is they don't bleed? So they don't bleed with alcohol or your water-based media? I mean, if that was so, that would be great. If you can use, you know, especially for me, that I like using multimedia on my pieces. So if I'm using alcohol inks and I want to use water-based, I mean, that would be really ideal. So sometimes when I'm using the alcohol pens, I'll just stamp it in dye-based inks. But if there's one ink that can kind of, you know, control them all, that would be perfect. Okay. Our archivals by Ranger are all oil-based. That's interesting. Vivian, do you know if you can use alcohol inks over the Ranger ones then? Or are they going to bleed? Or do they just dry real fast and get locked down? Would you put the note on the back of the reflection card? Yeah. I put it on the back, or you can put it on the front too. You know, Caroline. I would put it on... It just depends. Okay, so it's a good question, Caroline. You can treat it many different ways. You can say like something like, you know, if you're going to put happy birthday, you can put happy birthday whatever, and you can have it as like a visual lead-in to something, okay? Or happy anniversary, and you can, I don't know, you know, hope you have a great, you know, whatever day or something like that. The reflection cards don't have to be like nature either. So you can put all kinds of things in there where it looks like it, you know, you're basically doing like a mock like pop-up card almost, you know. Just for nature ones, it looks great as like a body of water. But I would do something kind of thematic on the front of the card. So if you have like a lake, for example, on the inside of a reflection card, you might put like a little bit of some sort of tree or something like that on the front. Keep it really minimal, and then have it framing off, happy birthday or something like that. And then they open it up, and here's this much, bigger, bolder kind of visual on the inside. Or, if it's going to be a winter type of scene on the inside, you can put your snowflakes around the note or something like that. And the thing that I do too, this is the thing that we learned in school a lot of times, is when you're doing something like sequential aesthetics or something like that, you can treat the card, you know, like three different surfaces, like you're turning a page. Here's the beginning, the middle, and the conclusion, or something like that. So on the front, you might say, let's say it's a Christmas card with a lake on the inside, and there's going to be reflections of ice skaters on there. You might have something like, if you have like a little ice skater, and you say Merry Christmas on the front of the card, and you emboss it or something like that in white or whatever. And if you have like a little ice skater, or something like that on the front, or someone, walking somewhere, and then the interior, you open it up, and here this whole lake with the ice skaters on a lake or something like that, or just a frozen lake or something of that sort. And then maybe on the back side of the card, the back where I don't know, people put like hand stamp by or something like that. Maybe you just put a little snowflake or something like that. So you have something kind of that on the front that's, I don't know, let's say the second most strong visual, and then the interior is like the big, huge reveal. And then the conclusion tends to be a little bit more quiet, so you have something related to it like that in there. Or if it was, let's say I'm doing a Father's Day card. My dad used to like fishing, okay? And I did something like, a few trees on the front of the card, and it would say Happy Birthday on the front of the card, okay? Then he opens it up, and there's that lake with a fisherman in there, okay? And on the back of the card, you can write, like, I have a little fish there, and it says Love, Kevin. You know what I mean? So you can do that too. You can have the to someone on the front of the card. You open it up, and on the back you say, love whoever. You know what I mean? And you put that on the back. So you're splitting up that interior, usually single page thing. So it really makes this nice sequential type of whatever formatting that gets people, flipping to the next page, so to speak, something like that. So that's, the type of thing that I would do on that. I would treat it like a little book, in other words, where it has the beginning, middle, and end like that. Let's see. Yeah, the skater idea. So I have this little one. So as I'm thinking about that, I have this little little sledder guy for a piece, and they can be walking to somewhere or something like that. It'd be better if they were holding some skates or something like that. But or I have this skier too, and the interior could be this mountain of snow reflecting in a lake down below or something like that. And the last page I would do, sometimes I just do a little bit of a on the exterior I might do some splatter painting, like these little stars like this, on the back of the card. Where the interior, it's like a much bigger kind of, explosive type of, sky visual or something like that. So you make it thematic with your skies or something of that sort. I mean, there's all kinds of little things you can do like that. You can have it, the theme can be just words too. You can do the ... type of thing, and you can write something on the inside in there if you want to, and then you can do the ... love, whoever, type of thing as well. So it's like, or you can have like a sentence that's broken up into, 3 parts like that. And that would be really fun too. beginning, middle, and end type of thing. I don't know. Now I want to do one of those now. Okay, let's see. There are a lot of cards with faded text as background texture. That's right. They have all those, when they started doing all those, remember all those stamps that had all that text on them, you know, for just backgrounds and stuff like that? Correct on CP Midnight. It's not die-based. Okay. Where did that pad go? So it said it's permanent then, right? It doesn't seem like a stays on, though. It seems... Let me see if this is dry here. Now, like I said, this one was like a big... Okay, this one's not dry yet, but Nancy really inked this up heavily for me. Shout out to Nancy and Nancy Stamps. Check out those stamp wars and everything like that. She's awesome. All her inks are really juicy. Okay, so one of the things I like about the Catherine Pooler ones is this pad too. That pad I was mentioning in a previous live stream, or that's the only pad that I've seen of its sort since the Vivid pads of old, you know. And these Vivid pads, for anyone that has them, you know, still, this thing is like 30 years old. Now, I haven't been using these Vivid pads because through the years I was using some different ones because these things got discontinued like really fast. And this right here, that thing's like as juicy as it was day one, and I've never re-inked it, okay? Now, like I said, I haven't used it, and this doesn't exactly feel like it's super like airtight either, and it's just sitting on my shelf. So I tend to think that that material in those pads, you know, is really awesome. So I was really happy to see that the Catherine Pooler ones utilized that same material. I thought it was amazing because usually these different types of pads are made by the same manufacturer just for the different companies out there. And I haven't seen that material used in a long time. I don't know, maybe there are, but I've just, you know, I haven't seen it. But that Vivid pad, look at that Vivid too. That Vivid, those inks were so dense and rich like that. They go into your pores like that too, really fast. Okay, you decorate your envelopes also. That is so cool, Darlene. A lot of people don't do a lot of that anymore. Envelope art, mail art was so big back in the day when I first started stamping in the 80s. Actually, I wasn't really stamping until like 90s, you know, but I worked for another company. But mail art and those envelopes that people used to do were really amazing. So, yeah, as far as like a thematic type of thing, I love it when the envelopes are stamped. Okay, let's see. Archival are bleed proof with watercolor, alcohol ink, and acrylic. Okay. I need to start using them then, you know. If I can use that one, if it's bleed proof with both water and alcohol, that would be awesome. That really surprises me though with the alcohol inks, because I would have thought that those kind of more archival ones, you know, like if I write something with like a Sharpie pen, but maybe if it's not, maybe I say if I mark with it like a Sharpie pen on that foil like this, where it's not absorbing, I wonder if that alcohol ink would move it around a little bit. It might though, because the ink is like completely on the surface, like floating and dry and adhered on the surface and not going into the page. I'll do a little test of something like that using this Pooler one, I think. And I'll see if I have that other archival pad too. So, but that's really good to know. That's I can see that on the white, like card stocks or something like that. I don't know, unless someone's already tested like the archivals on like a foil or something like that. But I don't know, let us know. And if anyone has like multiple types of archivals where you found that the characteristic of them was different from brand to brand, I don't know, maybe you know, let us know in the comments section or something like that, and you know, that would be a good reference point for us too. I don't know, I don't know how many different brands have archivals though. There's not too many, right? Like 3 or 4 lines of archival inks out there. Like Ranger has them. I don't know. That's the only one that's coming to mind for me right now that I can think of. But like I said, I'm kind of out of the loop in terms of a lot of different inks out there because I've been using the same ones for years. Wants to understand the nature of archival at the beginning. Well, I kind of wanted to know both, though, with that, in terms of the archival. I definitely wanted to know, yeah, like the properties of them, too. Oh, Stamp Wars is how you found the channel. That Stamp Wars is awesome. They just had their, what was it? I can't remember what number of Stamp Wars that was. But that was the first time that I ever kind of experienced kind of I don't know, like a gut-wrenching drama in stamping, but in a fun way though, because everyone was stamping and they were under that time frame limit, and then they were throwing out those what do they call them? I forgot what they call them. Those things where they throw in like this not challenges, but oh, I can't remember the term of it, but they, when they're stamping along, they think they have like a certain type of time frame. And it's like, okay, you got to do an envelope to go along with your cards now, And it's like, oh my God, I got to, got this other thing that they have to do that they weren't kind of planning for. But anyways, check that out. All right, decorating envelopes can be a little something down at the bottom corner or on the back flap. Yeah, that's true. Many of my recipients of my cards always comment on the coordinating cards and envelopes. That's a big element, Darlene, It's like it's like the lead-in for a book or something like that, you know what I mean? If you can get something kind of hooked on there, sabotages, thank you, Laura. If you can get someone, it's one of those things that we learned in illustration. You always want to get someone to, like if it's in a book, like a book or something like that, like a picture book, you want to have something that compels people to flip the page and to go to the next page, and to keep on. Or, if you have something where it's like in a magazine where you're just competing a bunch of stuff and everyone's flipping, if you can get someone to stop, for a few little seconds or something like that, and check it out and, inspect a little bit further, then you've really done your job. But those thematic types of things with envelopes, I see it as like like the opening pages for like a book or something like that you're getting into. There's usually a pacing to like, especially like kids' picture books, like where they'll have the title. They won't have this big, huge graphic. They'll have a little, thumbnail thing in there that kind of gives people somewhat of the idea of what's to come, and then it builds up, and if you're doing like a reflection card, that would be like the big climax type of thing, and then kind of the the cool down period or something like that on the back of the card. So I don't know, we should do a challenge like that sometime in the Stampscapes in the Facebook group. I mean, everyone can do it, but I'm just saying the Facebook group, we can see what people did because they post their pieces, or something like that. But I have those pieces on in the gallery section of the Stampscapes website under, I think it's under the Fusion gallery. So under my name, under Fusion, I did these sequential pieces, and one of them has like this little beginning with a title, and then there's one, it was just using a bunch of different images, like from my private collection from other companies, but I did this one piece that was basically 3 panels. It has this little fairy, and I don't know, Death is like on vacation, and I don't know, they fall in love. I didn't come up with the story and go get the pieces. I just kind of came up with the story by looking at a couple of the pieces that I already had. And then there's this other one that's the hands. I had a bunch of hand stamps. So there's this other one called The Hands of Science, Mysticism, and Fear. And then there's this other one that's called like mysteries of the stone or something like that. But you can see my small pieces kind of leading into the pieces. But I don't know, we should have like some kind of little challenge like that, where people can show their pieces, like that, and that would be really cool. So, but Darlene, Darlene's already been doing that. You should show us some of your, you know, uh, sequential, types of pieces. We'd love to see them. All right. Thanks everyone for joining in. I'm gonna have to, I gotta fix one of my pieces that was supposed to be a really quick piece until I, do it. A quick thing would have just been to cut off that top part, but I really wanted to see what I could do, over the top of that and if I can mask it over. It is kind of masked over at a certain angle like that, but I want that ghosted image down there kind of, completely done. So I'm going to spray seal this and just add in some other stuff. It should be pretty easy to do, and I'll post it on, Facebook and Flickr and stuff like that. But I'll get it formatted too into a, little postcard with some framing around it. But we'll see what we can come up with kind of in this whole area right in here. Maybe some birds or something like that over the front of it once I stamp out that, or get a little bit more opacity and coverage in there, and we'll see what that looks like. And to see if I can pull that one off, and just eradicate that kind of mistake impression in there. All right, thanks everyone again. Have a great rest of evening or weekend whenever we see you again next. Hope to see you in the next live stream. And thanks for tuning in as always.